What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another exciting episode of Sports at Night. Real fans, real talk, coming at you Live, live, baby.
Yes, indeed.
Wherever you may be watching and however you may be watching. As always, I'm your host, Todd Knight, and joining me, two of my most esteemed colleagues, at least in my opinion anyway, Jevon Superman Miller and Will Michael Trahan.
How you doing, guys?
What's going on, baby?
The main man in the building.
Yeah. I assume that we're talking about Will, right?
Yeah. No.
Awesome. Man, football has been really, really exciting to me thus far. And, I mean, it's literally at its birth right now for this season.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just now kicking off. And, I mean, we've had one incredibly amazing finish that's already transpired.
Yep.
And we're going to dive into that right here at the beginning of the show. We're also going to talk about a little bit about what excited us most during week one of college football. There's a certain running back for the Pittsburgh Steelers that is still holding out. And I think he might need to get his bell rung because of it, if you catch my drift. And, of course, we're going to dive into the matchup that excites us the most for week one of NFL action. But first, this show is brought to you by Paul McMurray State Farm, where the only thing brought to you by the show itself is the policies. And I totally blew it, and I'm so sorry, Paul.
Don't worry,
the policies themselves are...
We're going to buy you a case of mousse for his mess up to keep your hair looking good.
Well, something's got to be done, so I'm glad that's what's going to be happening.
Yeah.
Just call to get a quote, and he'll forgive you just as quickly, if not faster, than he'll forgive me. So, anyway, like I was saying, we're just going to dive right into the action here. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons, the Battle of the Birds, they squared off Thursday night.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I think you'd have been better served just avoiding the first three quarters of the game and watching the fourth quarter, at least from an offensive standpoint. Because those first three quarters, both defenses really showed up to play ball. I'll give credit where credit is due, but both offenses looked absolutely atrocious, anemic, awful. How many adjectives that are negative can I throw at both offenses for that first three quarters?
Hey, anyone got a dictionary?
I need to do a little studying on that one.
Yeah, let's look something up.
It was bad.
It was very bad. Very bad. But then all of a sudden, when the fourth quarter came around and you kind of knew it was going to happen, none of those offenses really had an opportunity to practice much during the preseason, and it showed from the beginning. But they started to get into a little bit of a rhythm, both offenses for Philly and for Atlanta. And the defenses, inevitably, with the heat, the humidity, and all those other factors coming into play, started to look a little gas.
Yep.
And started playing very, not so good. And then it literally came down to the final second, much like it would have did in the divisional playoffs last year. A completed pass out of bounds to Julio Jones to end the game. Eagles win in a wild finish, 18-12. Yeah. Jevon, what are your thoughts on that particular game and everything that had transpired through the first four quarters of the season?
Okay. Well, before I get off into the NFFL, National Flag Football League.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to. I want to do two shout outs real quick. One, because we got people from Detroit that likes to watch our show, I want to throw a little quick shout out. I want to give a big shout out to Eminem for dropping one of the greatest albums I've ever heard in my entire life. Definitely my top 10 favorite album of all time, and definitely the number one best album of this year or this decade.
Everybody from the 313, put your hands up and follow he.
Jesus, that album is absolutely amazing. I have never heard wordplay like that before. Okay, and number two, real quick, I got my Nikes on, by the way. Big shout out to Nike for their new campaign with my boy Colin Kaepernick. I think that was bold. I think it was beautiful, just like the show. Appreciate you guys for doing something like that, stepping out on faith, and Cap deserves it because he hadn't deserved a lot of the stuff that he's doing. And for all you morons out there that's burning Nike gear, you're being way more violent than his protest ever was. So you look like freaking idiots. And and thank you, Colin, man. You hung in there, you did your thing, and it's paying off for you, man. Kudos to you, man. And I just want to get that out the way real quick.
All right.
And by the way, if you don't want any more of your Nike gear, please send it to me. You can send it to Sports at Night, the show, and I will gladly get it. But half of you skinny morons, I couldn't fit none of your clothes anyway. Okay, now.
What size shoe do you wear?
Oh, I went size 13, baby. And I know some of you cats' feet are way smaller than that. Dig. Anyway, so back to what I was saying. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, the NFFL. Okay, so first off, there were two just extremely bustified plays that, well, maybe more than that the outcome of those plays determined what could have happened, right? So first off, Atlanta had, they had the Eagles backed up, and a stupid quarterback call gets them out of trouble. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't supposed to lay your weight on the quarterback, dude. Well, just put a flag on the side of them so we can yank it and the play will be over with, man. Let's just call it the Flag Football League. Because that's why I was telling you, I think the death of the pass rusher, man. You can't even hit the quarterback anymore, man. So what do we need pass rushers for? If they can't do their job, then why do they even have a job? It's just, it was really, I think that was really a terrible, that really numbed that game for me. And then Atlanta moved the ball very well, but could never put it in the end zone. You know what I mean?
No, their red zone efficiency was awful.
It was
absolutely
absolutely
awful.
atrocious, man. Man, these dudes have like one of the most potent offenses, but they can't put a touchdown on the board to save their life.
You know what? Ever since Kyle Shanahan left to go to San Francisco, that offense has not been the same. Yeah, it can churn out those yards, but it can't finish the drive.
It can't finish the drive. I mean, there's no way. I mean, they did running plays, which they have an amazing running back, but he couldn't get in the end zone. I mean, Julio zones. I mean, you're trying your best. He still can't. He couldn't get a touchdown, and that proved right there at the end of the game. Hey, he threw it to Julio, out of balance, game over, man. Yeah. Nick Foles, I love me some Nick Foles, man, but he really had a bad game. And I still love Nick. I still love Nick, and I don't blame his bad game on him. I blame it on the fact that he got injured in the preseason, and he still, they constantly bounce it back like, who do we want? Wentz? Who they gonna put out there? Wentz fold. So you never have a chance to really get in any kind of rhythm. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily think that Nick Foles, what happened with Nick was his fault.
That makes sense.
I think if they go ahead and make a decision on who do they want, I think Nick Foles can take that offense and do exactly what he did with it last year.
I think it's going to end up being Carson Wentz.
It will be Wentz, but I'm just saying though, that's the reason why Nick Foles can't be the Nick Foles that we saw last year because of that. And so, with that being said, I mean, I love a good defensive game, and I do think the defense played really well, given what they had to work with. You can't touch the quarterback. You can't do anything to make football. Yeah, so all they can do is try their best to just hold down and bend but don't break. And basically, that's what both of the defenses really did. Okay. Just bend but don't break. So I mean, football just really getting. Damn. Let's just go all offense, man. Or let's just please put a flag on the side of them so we can stop the play before the quarterback get hurt, if that's what they're trying to do.
All right. By the way, real quick, shout out to our viewers first. Currently right now, Erica, glad to have you on right now.
Hey, what's going on, E?
Yep. Lena, my mama from Michigan, glad to have you on as well.
Michigan, what's up?
I love you.
Greatest rapper alive.
Now, Will, what do you have on the Battle of the Birds?
Well, we all know I'm a Giants fan, so obviously, and I like the Saints too. My whole family are Saints fans, so I really didn't have a dog in this fight. I always like to see the Eagles lose,
For
You know,
obvious
it always
reasons,
makes
yeah.
me-
So did I.
Always
but-
makes me feel good inside, but you know,
Haters, man.
I'm trying to take a more objective approach to the season this year and not let my emotions run so high. with
Is it
this
because of
stuff.
your role on the show now?
That and working in the news, or I did work in the news. I'm out of it now, but you have
that's
to,
news to
you
me.
have to try to stay unbiased.
Yeah.
So I looked at it as this: the Eagles lost not only their offensive coordinator, Frank Reich is now the head coach of the Colts. They also lost their quarterbacks coach, which he worked wonders with Carson Wentz in his development. John DeFilippo is now the offensive coordinator in Minnesota. So they're installing a new offense, and Nick Foles last year when he came in as a guy, the underdog, the chip on his shoulder. Well, now he's a Super Bowl MVP. He's got a target on his chest.
True.
So I think
Yeah.
the pressure has been ramped up a lot to at least hold pace until Wentz gets back. I don't think it's a competition. And Nick Foles said it this offseason. He said, I'm here until Carson gets healthy. But Carson Wentz is overcoming not only an ACL tear, he also tore his PCL, which is why it's taking a lot longer to heal because he's got to heal movement in his knee sideways and up and down. So, and they're being cautious, which is smart because, first off, they just won a Super Bowl. It's very hard to repeat. So if you bring Carson Wentz back too early and he gets hurt again, you pretty much screw yourself for not only this year for your title defense, you screw yourself in the years following.
Which
look what Carson
would have
Palmer.
a crippling effect.
Wait,
on,
you don't think Nick could do it again?
I don't, because in 2000, whatever year it was that he came in and threw 28 touchdowns and 2 interceptions, he came out of nowhere. Nobody heard of this guy. He came out of nowhere.
That was after Vic.
Exactly. Vic got hurt. He came in and just killed it, right?
Right.
Well, then he goes to the Rams, and not all can be put at the foot of Nick Foles because Jeff Fisher, we saw what the Rams did from 2 years ago to last year. It's basically the same roster with a new offensive coordinator and Sean McVay and head coach.
Exactly.
And so I think he's been in situations that have set him up to fail, which is why he almost considered retiring. He was very depressed. Last year he almost quit before the season started. It turned out very, very good for him that he didn't. But Nick Foles,
Obviously.
and he got hurt, but he hasn't looked good all offseason. Even before he got hurt, that offense has looked. They lost LeGarrette Blount, which say what you want about the guy,
The
but
boy's hard
he's
runner,
won
man.
2 Super Bowls the past 2 years.
Hard runner.
That's I don't think.
Yeah.
He's that change of pace. He's that veteran. They didn't know what they had in Jay Ajayi. Darren Sproles is coming off an ACL tear and a broken arm. Their other Corey Clement. That's the guy. This is
Yes,
right?
yes.
Clement. He was a heck of a receiver in the Super Bowl. Had a hell of a game, right? So all that stuff. I think they're growing. They're going to grow into this new offense. It's just going to take some time. As far as the Falcons go, I'm very surprised that Steve Sarkisian, the offensive coordinator, still has a job. Because going from Kyle Shanahan to Sarkisian's offense, they dropped from, I think, 70-something% of red zone efficiency down to 40. They went from 5th in the league to
That's quite a plummet
last
right
year,
there.
right?
Just like we were talking about at the top of the show.
Yeah.
Ever since Kyle Shanahan left, that offense, it can move great between the 20s.
Right.
But once it gets into that red zone, it just
I
Yes,
think
and we all know that Dan Quinn is a defensive coordinator. He was the defensive coordinator of the Legion of Boom before he was a head coach. He's a defensive guy. His focus and his expertise is on defense. So he needs an offensive coordinator like Shanahan that's a really good mind that comes in and runs that offense. Because you got Matt Ryan. He won the MVP just 2 years ago.
Because they can move the ball.
But look at Minnesota. Last year when they fired Norv Turner midseason, they had a complete turnaround on offense. They were anemic. Once they lost Dalvin Cook, or what's his name?
Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. They really thought that offense was going to be screwed. Case Keenum, this guy's never done anything. But then they
Journeyman
fired Norv
quarterback.
Turner.
Don't talk about our new quarterback.
They fired Norv Turner. Pat Shermer's the OC, the full OC, and then they make a run to the NFC Championship. Now they got destroyed in the NFC Championship, but I digress. I'm just saying that the Falcons picked up exactly where they left off last year in the NFC divisional round.
they really did.
And it's sad because you have a receiver in Julio Jones that
That's
had
fantastic.
1,400 yards last year, but only 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. And he had over 150 yards receiving the other night.
But the first
no touchdowns.
First two drives in the end zone, he wasn't even on the field.
Yeah.
They threw one to Austin Hooper, and then they tried to do a sweep with Freeman.
Yeah,
You know, and
I don't know what that was.
It's incredible some of the play calling that Sarkisian's doing. And as Matt Ryan is my fantasy quarterback in my most important league, and it was very frustrating to watch him struggle the way he did, knowing that he has Calvin Ridley's a new first-round wide receiver.
I didn't think he touched the ball.
Sanu's a vet. Jones is one of the top 4 wide receivers. Austin Hooper is no slouch. You got Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman.
Yeah.
You got 2 running backs.
Two running backs that's outstanding, man.
Most teams
for
number
sure.
ones. It's frustrating to see that.
I think Matt Ryan got to start taking a Peyton Manning approach. Man, the hell with what the coach said on the sideline. If I need to change the play, I need to change the play. I saw Nick Foles do that a couple of times. Matter of fact, one of the touchdowns that they got, Nick changed the play at the line. I watched him. He waved off what the coach said and did a run play, and that's how they got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, and
yeah.
as far as my opinion on that, the body weight on Nick Foles when Grady Jarrett fell on him, you guys remember when Tom Brady tore his ACL, and then the year after the rule came that you couldn't hit a quarterback below his knees or below his waist. This is Aaron Rodgers. This is the Aaron Rodgers rule. That's how he broke his collarbone last year. Is when somebody tackled him, they put their body weight and he snapped his collarbone. This is the exact result. People killed Tom Brady for it.
And now need to do the same thing with Aaron Rodgers.
First off, I'm just gonna kill Tom Brady. Period. And second off, Aaron Rodgers.
FBI, delete this footage right now. That is not a confession. If anything happens to TB12,
it had nothing to do with me.
nope.
And I will not diss my boy Aaron Rodgers. I know y'all hate him. But I love me some Aaron Rodgers, man.
Oh, he's the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah, he's a prick, but I love him.
For those of you who obviously can't see this, my wife is regurgitating right now behind the camera. But
it is because of Aaron Rodgers. This rule is in there, and it makes me angry, man. Because like I said, well, let's go ahead and tell every pass rusher you're fired. Because you can't be a true pass rusher. When you hit somebody, you have no control over where your body goes. You got to get them down, especially when you're dealing with a big quarterback like a Cam Newton or something. When you hit that big fool, you got to get him on the ground by any means necessary.
And especially Grady
You gotta do what you
Jarrett.
gotta do.
Grady Jarrett's a 320-pound defensive tackle. You try rerouting 320
Straight
pounds.
up.
It's not easy.
on a dime like that, yeah.
As you're falling. I mean,
We've all made really good points on this, but there's one thing that has not been mentioned yet that not a lot of people are thinking about right now. Atlanta's defense lost Pro Bowl safety Keanu Neal with a torn ACL the other night.
Yeah.
And that is
big.
That is a huge injury. He played that Cam Chancellor role in the Falcons defense. And furthermore, what I do want to say on this though is Devontae Kazee, he played great in the preseason. He played also great against Philly last night, not last night, but Thursday night. Whenever he came in relief, I mean, he was all over the field making plays. He was responsible for one of the interceptions as well.
yeah.
And the reason why I'm bringing this up is, you're losing a Pro Bowl starter, and Kazee can step in there, and I think he can do a pretty good job in his absence, and he's going to have to for the duration of the season.
We talking about leadership qualities too, though.
Exactly, and you're also talking about a new lack of depth because you're having a second string guy come in and have to be the starter now.
Straight up.
And with how pass happy the league is, I'm sorry, there's only so many starting quality corners and safeties you can have out on the field and in your lineup as a whole anyway.
Right.
That's true, but they have 2 really good corners in Robert Alford and Desmond Trufant. So I think that Dan Quinn and the defensive coordinator,
Their defense
staff,
is great, man.
I think they can scheme around.
Not to mention Deion Jones in the middle of the linebacker. He's awesome.
He's the greatest cover corner in the league right now. I mean, Luke Kuechly, all those concussions, and he was number 1. But I think Jones is overtaking that, man. Those LSU linebackers don't play.
Luke, don't you
They
take
really
that,
don't.
Luke. Get out there and show him what's the
Not
deal,
this
Luke.
Sunday. He's playing Dallas.
Oh, Luke, don't
6
do it.
Take a week off.
I hope he has 6 interceptions, 18 sacks, 1 game.
Oh.
Anywho, let's hop off of this real quick.
Okay.
All right.
Where are we going next?
So, all that being said, yeah, I mean, we had to ring the bell on this particular topic, and I think it's a very, very appropriate. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell continues to hold out.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
Get your money, bro.
Well, he's losing his money.
He's losing money as we speak. As a matter of fact, he's losing $855,000 for every game that he does not show up to.
It's okay, man. You gotta have sacrifice to get the big deal. See, speaking of Cowboys, I remember a guy named Emmitt Smith doing something extremely similar to what Le'Veon Bell is doing right now. Emmitt said, "You know what? I'm not gonna play until you pay me." And when they lost a few games without Emmitt, didn't they end up paying him?
They did.
Yeah, they paid Emmitt. So what's the difference between what Emmitt did and what Le'Veon is doing?
Well, the difference
Franchise
is,
tags.
Well, first off, the difference is when Emmitt played, the running back was a hell of a lot more important than it is today. You got...
So Le'Veon isn't important. They lost a whole chance to go to the Super Bowl because that man got
from
hurt.
a financial
important.
standpoint.
He's important.
Yeah, okay.
But the quality of running all right, so there's only 10 good quarterbacks in the NFL, right?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all would agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
10 good, you could say good quarterbacks,
Fantastic
right?
quarterbacks,
That's why quarterbacks are getting paid this ungodly amount of money. There's like 30 to 35 good running backs. So if every team can have one, why are you going to pay this guy 10, 15, 20% of your salary cap when you could just go draft somebody like Kareem Hunt in the 3rd round, Alvin Kamara in the 5th round, somebody like that? I think that's what the Steelers are doing. The Steelers are going to ride this thing out to the end of the season, try to give him 400 carries if they can, and then say adios. They got James Conner behind him, and maybe they'll draft somebody else.
They lost their mind, man.
I really don't think. I mean, I am always on the side of players getting paid because I think the NFL owners have gotten one up with
extremely
this CBA.
rich off these
This
dudes.
CBA is terrible for the players. But I will say the Steelers aren't dumb. The Steelers aren't one of those franchises like the Browns or the Jaguars that just throw money at people and throw caution into the wind. The Steelers are one of those franchises like the Giants, the Patriots, one of those storied Dallas, one of those
Fiscally sound.
Yes, one of those storied franchises that they do their due diligence.
So is LA? Are the Rams retarded for paying Gurley like they did?
No, Gurley is a lot younger. Gurley's 3 years younger and has more potential.
More potential. Gurley might be a harder running back, but there's no smarter, more agile, just flexible running back than Le'Veon Bell. I think he's extremely flexible, and he's, to me, I would pay the man because you don't see his type of running back anywhere.
You're very true. That's very true.
What I mean?
And
You don't see that dude.
His talent's the only reason he has a job because the dude's an asshole.
Yeah, he is an a-hole. The
dude is more focused on himself than his team, and he's failed drug tests and gotten arrested for weed. How stupid do you have to be?
I'm gonna chime in here.
I don't think he'd end up.
I mean, obviously,
I'm gonna let you finish, and then I'm
you're a
gonna hop
running
in.
back. Your career is going to last to 35, 36 max, unless you're Frank Gore, right?
Yeah.
So that
Man,
means
definitely
the
the max.
rest of your life to go to a state where marijuana is legal and you can smoke it till you die, old man. Why can't you put it down for 10 to 15 years, focus on making as much money and doing the best that you can
That was funny.
for your career, and then you can retire with more money than you'll ever need, and you can sit on your front porch and smoke weed until your heart's content. But
Ricky
no,
Williams would totally disagree with you on that. Ricky say, if you can't smoke that blunt, then don't run that rock.
Ricky who?
Williams.
You mean
Ricky
the guy
Williams.
who went to rehab?
Yeah. I mean,
The one and the same, yes.
Yeah, the guy who shaved his dreads off.
I'm
and sucked.
I'm going to say, and shout out to Josh Hill real quick. I mean, I know that you dig what Le'Veon Bell is doing right now. I get that.
I love
and
you
he
too,
also
Josh.
he's loving you right now. He's loving what you have to say. Also, quick shout out to Genevieve. Glad that you're on the show. We love having you on. So happy. Red heart all the way. Now I'm gonna go a totally different route here where Le'Veon Bell is concerned. Does the man deserve to get paid? Yes, he does deserve to get
Absolutely.
paid. I am saying that he is a top 3 running back in this league. There is no question about that.
There we go.
It's 2.
I think
it's
it's
2. I think it's him and Gurley.
I'll go
Gurley.
3 just to kind of play it, kind of conservatively on that part.
We agree, Trahan. Good grief.
But yeah, it's a Christmas
Something's
miracle.
wrong.
The force is off, man.
There is a disturbance. The force, yes, exactly. Yeah, then there must be a full moon. It's got to be. But dude, seriously, he is absolutely putting himself above the team right now, and that's where I have a problem with what he's doing right now. And there's a lot of Pittsburgh teammates that have equally frustrating feelings about that.
Absolutely.
True.
Ramon Foster, he's pissed.
His tweet was amazing.
Yeah.
His tweet was the best tweet I've seen from an O lineman since Taylor Lewan. This guy said he makes 8 times what I do and twice as much as our left tackle. We're the ones who do it for him, and he's bitching and moaning. That's
exactly right. That's my point.
amazing.
That is my point. If anything, I mean, because what you're doing right now, honestly, you're disrespecting the organization.
Absolutely.
You're disrespecting your fan base.
Okay,
You're disrespecting your coaches.
Jeez.
You're disrespecting your teammates, the guys that go to battle for you every single week. What is your deal? If you're not going to play, let them know when you're going to be back so that they can prepare accordingly.
He hot.
If you're not, march on it. Get your ass out of there. Because there's 31 other teams that would love to have your ass.
Yeah.
But I'm being serious, though. I'm being totally freaking serious about this.
Yeah.
I mean, Le'Veon Bell has got to, coach speak here. He's got to get his head out of his ass.
Woo, let me get the rock, man. He done pumped me up, man. I'll run for you, Pittsburgh. Give me the rock, man.
Exactly.
Just pay me like a fourth of what the lowest guy on the roster is making. I'll tote the rock twice until I get a concussion.
I am 100% with
I'll
you.
do it.
I'm with you, Trahan.
I
Hey,
look like
man.
Jerome Bettis out there, but hell, I'll do it.
I might get lit up like the first quarter, but I'm there, baby. I can take a hit. I'll keep
I'll
running.
retire after one series, but I'll do it.
I won't even go to concussion protocol, man. I just completely lie.
Josh is saying Saquon Barkley, your number 1 overall pick. I can go ahead and say that right there.
Yep.
He's about to light the NFL up, all caps. And he's also saying, keep fanning me. Go ahead, come on, Jevon. Keep fanning me. Because,
Calm down.
yeah, I am hot on this topic.
Heat.
Straight up. Mad Heat. Right up in here.
I really do. I really think Bell has overplayed his hand, though. Like, doing this during the preseason is fine. Players do it all the time. David Johnson held out for a little bit. Todd Gurley, you never heard a peep out of him.
Yeah.
You know, that Rams team is set up for a Super Bowl, maybe not, if not the same, even more than the Steelers. This is the Steelers' window. Big Ben's contemplating retirement.
Yes, he is.
AB is not going to be the best receiver in the league forever.
Very true.
You know, that offensive line is aging. They're about to have to pay those defensive players that Bud Dupree, Stephon.
I think they're gonna. I'm thinking they're gonna
Cameron,
let. I think they're gonna let Dupree walk.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Well, I mean, they still have. I mean, losing Shazier was a blow, but I mean, Shazier was more of a leader than he was an elite talent. You know, he was replacing his leadership's going to be a lot harder than replacing his
production. Yeah,
Right.
So,
I do agree with that. Although Shazier is a really
Absolutely.
I'm not saying he's a great player, but before the injury, and definitely I'm glad that he's recovering as well as to what he is from that, because I mean that was devastating right there.
I will say, watching him walk across the stage was
At the draft.
was the coolest, one of the coolest things, because they said they never told us who it was. They just said there's going to be a surprise guest.
I dropped a tear.
It was awesome.
It was
I
wonderful.
did.
It was awesome.
That is wonderful.
I dropped one tear because if you guys don't understand, I love me a good old underdog, man, and I love someone. I love to see people overcome adversity.
Yeah.
One of the reasons why Colin Kaepernick is one of my favorite players, not because of his talent, but because of overcoming obstacles. You know what I mean? And Shazier had a huge obstacle he had to overcome.
Most definitely.
That's massive. So big ups to him. And speaking of leadership qualities, Baltimore was never the same without Ray Lewis. And look, when Ray Lewis came back off his injury, it was his leadership that got them that Super Bowl, not his talent, because he really didn't do very much. he led them boys to a Super Bowl ring.
For sure.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So Shazier gonna be a hard. He's a hard one.
But needless to say, the thing that the Steelers are going to have to replace at running back, damn sure ain't leadership. It's just production because Le'Veon Bell is about as selfish of a player as it gets. I'm talking Terrell Owens level selfishness.
Lady, I love you, man.
I think it's getting worse than that. I mean, the longer that this plays out, the worse it's getting.
Absolutely.
I'm trying to take up for the man.
And this is
hard.
And this is a tangent that I'm going to go on real quick.
Oh,
When
here you
Odell
go.
Beckham in his first couple of years, I thought this was going to be the person and the player that he turned into. Now, thankfully, I was wrong. He didn't hold out. But Le'Veon Bell is just, he's just one of those guys. He's getting paid $15 million on the franchise tag. Who in their right mind is going to bitch and moan about making $15 million? And he played on the franchise tag last year, which means in the past 2 years he's made $25+ million. Why are you going to bitch and moan about that? You're going to get paid at the end of the season anyway.
Well, that's enough in my opinion right there.
And I feel like he's already burned the bridge with Pittsburgh. Even if he came back now, I think it's awkward between him and the GM and the owners. Ownership. They've already – the Steelers don't like to look stupid. They don't like to look stupid, and this is what Le'Veon Bell is doing. They're making ownership, and they're making the team. We're talking about Le'Veon Bell instead of talking about the Steelers' possible Super Bowl run, and that's exactly what the Rooney family does not want. And I think the damage has been done. I think he's going to play somewhere else. I think he's going to play probably with the Jets next year, if I had to guess.
Don't send him over there.
He's going
Jets or the Raiders, somewhere like that.
Nah, send him over there.
I don't know.
His career is over after that.
Suck over in Los Angeles.
That would definitely be a Raider type of move right there. Getting somebody that would be like an outcast.
Absolutely.
That is Raider football all the way.
But they have to wait till he's old. They can't. They have to wait till he's like 30. So he may play 2 years and then go to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, man. He got a doofus of a coach over there waiting for him.
God, yes.
Yeah.
Good old Chucky Chuck.
Good old dumb Gruden.
Let me trade Khalil Mack for 2 first-round picks.
You know
He
what?
will probably be out of the league in 5 years. That seems like a great idea.
Boy, if I was the owner of the Raiders, when my Khalil Mack would have got away from me, man, I would have called Gruden in for a meeting. I would have called him in for a meeting. Have y'all ever seen the movie The Untouchables?
Yeah.
Okay, now remember that scene with Robert De Niro when they had the meeting? Everybody was sitting down, they was eating and everything, and he was walking around the table with a bat, and he stopped and he found a head to whack with that bat. That would have been Gruden. I would have had a meeting. We all would have had something to eat. I would have had like a lot of food in the office, man. We would have been talking. I would have been walking around the table, and I just would have whacked him in the head with a bat.
Smack that blonde off his head.
See, I think if Mark Davis, who was Al Davis's son, the owner, I think if he wanted Khalil Mack, he would have kept Khalil Mack. But he just sunk $100 million in John Gruden. He's moving his team to Las Vegas. He had to buy the land. He's building a stadium. I don't think they could afford Khalil Mack.
Yeah, and that's part of what I was talking about whenever I was up in San Francisco last week.
True.
I mean, the fans up there in Oakland, they almost really couldn't care less about that particular move because whenever those draft picks actually do come to fruition, they're not even going to have a team anyway.
Wow, that's real.
Yeah.
So
that's real.
I mean, and that is local conversations right there
Keeping
from
it
people
real
in the area. I mean, it's mind-boggling how because of that singular move, there is such disinterest compared to years past in Raider Nation.
Yep.
So it's very surprising.
So it's like they basically just like, look, we got to rebuild anyway, so whatever.
That's basically the message that he's sending. We're building for Vegas. We don't care about Oakland. We're building for Vegas.
Let's lose our best player on our team.
We're going to get as much future capital as we can. So that way, when we move into our new fancy stadium in our new city, and forget about Oakland, we can have some new faces to slap on billboards and sell tickets because of promise. Not because he's been an all-pro at 2 separate positions in the same year, which doesn't happen, or he's one of the most talented pass rusher, if not the most talented pass rusher in the NFL. Why do you want that guy?
Who wants that guy? Yeah, who wants him, right? All because you sink your money in a coach that won a Super Bowl off another man's team.
Absolutely.
He got blown away to the Windy City now.
Yes.
But look here. You're talking about, the team going to Vegas and having fresh faces and everything. Where's these fresh faces going to come from?
Straight up.
College football. So, what's got us excited about it? What's got you excited about college football, man? Because that's where these draft picks are going to come from. So, hell, we may as well talk about it a little bit, right? Well, makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
So, kudos to you, man, because you segued that one perfectly for us. Once you started saying that, I was just like, yeah, this is great. I'm loving this.
Not a professional over here, whatever.
Totally, no doubt about that. So, I'm just going to go ahead and dive in here real quick. Last week, college football kicked off and it had a lot of very, very, very interesting games, a lot of interesting matchups.
Go LSU.
And that's where I'm going to go with this. As far as what excited me the most.
Oh yeah, them whooping the hell out of
LSU
you.
whipping up on the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement there. That's
Punched it right in the
I
eyeball,
mean,
boy.
yeah, it was great to sit there and watch. And our very own Josh Hale was actually there for the game. He was shooting it, and before the show started and everything, I was just like, I wanted to ask him what the atmosphere was like, at AT&T Stadium whenever that was taking place. And I will read the text as specific as it gets from what he had said. The Miami fans turned up in surprising numbers. Tailgating was lots of fun. LSU fans came over to our Miami tailgate and gave everyone green and orange Mardi Gras beads. That was pretty sweet.
Nice.
Cool move. I'm down with that. The game was loud at first. Then once it was clear that LSU had it in the bag, it was less loud.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So that was that was pretty interesting to get that little take on that one. And
if
you know what?
If you guys don't know, Josh Hale is one of the most talented people with a camera that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
One of the most talented camera people ever, and that's the only compliment I'll ever give you ever in front of other people ever.
Well, I'm sure that he's enjoying that bit of love right
He's
not
not a bad actor. I think Josh can act. He can act a little bit.
He always acts like he knows what he's talking about.
I will agree with that. Yeah, that's true.
So anyway, just LSU, at the time ranked 25th in the nation, going up against the current at the time 8th ranked Hurricanes.
Yeah, obviously overrated now.
Seriously overrated, and LSU jumped from 25th to 11th. Which is,
I think so.
that's a colossal jump. I mean, they catapulted themselves way up there.
Man, we haven't
I
had
thought
this
Burrows,
excitement in a while, man.
I thought Joe Burrow looked really, really promising.
Mm-hmm.
He's, in my opinion, I think probably the best quarterback option they've had since Mettenberger was there, which is really saying something.
I miss Mettenberger, man. What happened after he went to Tennessee? He
bounced
fizzled
around
out the league, I think.
Yeah, and he kind of lost his mind.
Jesus, I thought he was gonna be a top dog, man. But okay, I'm not gonna go there. I miss Mettenberger, man. I like him.
Their defense looks stout. I think that's really, really obvious. They did a great job of capitalizing on the Hurricanes' mistakes, and they got themselves another fine running back. Obviously, Nick Brissett churned out $125, couple TDs. I mean, that was a hell of a performance. National TV.
Yeah.
That's how you get your name on the
game,
board.
The only game going on Sunday night. That was good. What I thought about LSU is if you live where we live, it's
right
LSU,
here in Northwest Louisiana.
LSU or die.
LSU or die.
Everybody here is purple and gold, die hard. So you watch LSU even if you don't want to most of the time, right?
Yeah.
Right.
My dad was a huge LSU fan, and
my parents are the same. My brothers, all of them, they're crazy LSU fans. I was dropped on my head as a child. I'm an Oklahoma Sooners fan.
We all know that.
So
you left in the car a couple of times.
I guess I don't know what it was. Shaking baby syndrome. I don't know. Let's talk to my folks. But so I'm sitting there watching it, and it's something I have not seen in 10 years from an LSU team, and that's competent play from the quarterback position.
Yes, indeed.
This guy Burrows, I don't care. I mean, you don't have to be very good to be better than what they've had. But the
bar's pretty low.
This guy had a lot of hype coming into Ohio State, and obviously we all know the quarterback logjam that has been Ohio State for the past 4 or 5 years. Not to mention the controversy there. So this guy had a lot of hype coming out from high school, and now that he's playing with LSU, there's a lot less people screaming for Coach O to get fired. Just because of this one game.
Just one game,
Just
yeah.
because of this one game.
Yeah.
He gave us hope.
Exactly. LSU fans are like Philadelphia Eagle fans. They change with the direction of the wind, man.
Real talk,
he could
man.
go out today
That's a fact.
and
That's a
just
fact.
blow it, and they're calling for his head. Get him out of there. But I'm telling you, Miami may have came in a little overrated, and they looked flat. But LSU, man, it seems like they just punched him in the mouth
And
they
did not
never
stop
let
hitting him.
up.
Yeah.
Never let up. And, it's fun to talk about the Tigers in a positive light because for so long they've been the butt of jokes. They had the coach that ate grass
Literally.
and did not know how to run the freaking clock. Les Miles may be known for two things: the guy that eats grass and the guy who cannot call a timeout in the right situation. It's incredible. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But Coach O is equally the butt of many jokes because he's one of the most thickest coon-ass accents I've ever heard on national television. This is Bobby Hebert level coon-ass talk. It's incredible.
Whenever he talks, it sounds like he gargled nails or
It
something.
really does.
For like an hour before.
Go Tigers. Go Tigers.
No wonder they think the South is
incredible.
incompetent, man. They
I mean,
think
come
we're stupid
on.
down
You really?
there, man.
No doubt, man.
I think the guy plays it up. I really think he plays it up because the guy can recruit and the guy can coach the offensive and defensive lines. The guy knows his linemen. I mean, just look at him. He looks like somebody who could still, pass block for Peyton Manning. You know what I mean?
Right. I agree.
He's just a bad man, but
Yeah,
it's
he
just
is.
cool to see the LSU Tigers in a positive light because
Sure,
so many
sure.
years they've had this incredible defense, but the offense was awful, horrible. Had these awesome running backs, but the quarterback was so bad that it was just one-dimensional.
Great receivers, too, even though they rarely got the
They
ball
had
thrown to them.
Odell Beckham, Jarvis Landry, all these guys that go to the NFL and succeed that you never even heard of until the draft process.
And don't forget the time when we had to use two quarterbacks to try to mess up people and fool people's head. You know what I mean? It was kind of like, all right, you come in and do this one play. Okay, now we got to switch you out and bring you in and do this play. I was like, man, what am I watching here, dude? I don't know, man. LSU used to just throw me for loops.
One thing with those two quarterback situations, to me, if you are a team that is dealing with rotating quarterbacks in and out like that, you don't have two quarterbacks. You have no quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
They say that,
you need to have to me, you need to have a definitive starter.
Alabama tends to disagree with you and still blow people out.
Yeah.
Won a national championship.
That's coaching.
Yeah,
It's
well,
called
you know.
coaching. They have a fantastic coach. They have the Bill Belichick of college football.
That they do, and he is a Bill Belichick disciple as well.
Right, straight
Back
up.
from his days with
the Giants.
of all teams, the Cleveland Browns.
Oh, yeah, the Browns. Sorry.
But
The Giants is where I wanted him to go.
real quick, shout out Derek Forney. Glad that you're on the show, man.
Forney.
I know that you're representing Who Dat Nation. I'm not going to talk about him, and I don't think any of these guys are going to talk about him today. Most likely, but yeah,
Boo that.
I'll throw you a little bit of love on that one.
Boo that. Boo that. No, I'm just playing.
Oh, good
I
God.
don't want,
There is another team that excited me last week in college football.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
The Oklahoma Sooners. Guys.
What a shock.
Well,
You can't talk college football without throwing Oklahoma in
well,
there.
think about it. This is one of the 4 teams that played for a playoff. They hung in there with Georgia till the end last year.
Yep.
They had the number 1 draft pick, Heisman winner quarterback leave. Then they had their heir apparent to quarterback get drafted number 9 overall by the Oakland Athletics. This guy's playing 1 year college ball and then he's headed to the majors. But I was really impressed. I think Rodney Anderson, their running back, is the best running back in college football. No disrespect to Bryce Love, who had 23 yards on 18 carries. No disrespect to whoever Ohio State's rolling out there because they're always good. But I think Rodney Anderson, he had 100 yards on like 12 carries. He averaged 20, or no, it was less than that. He averaged 20 yards per carry last week. Albeit they were playing FAU,
Gee,
but they were playing
Yeah.
an FAU team that's coached by Lane Kiffin, who's no slouch. I mean, he may be
He's
a jerk,
building the team over there.
maybe a jerk and a jackass, but he's no slouch. Dude can coach, okay?
Yeah.
But I think the greatest moment,
Most
ever-
jackass can coach.
the greatest moment of
Ex the
week
Patriot.
one, was when the Oklahoma Sooners beat them 61-21, and FAU accidentally sent out a text message or a push alert saying that they beat the Sooners. That shit was funny.
I'm going to throw this out there real quick. I mean, because this is, by the way, be sure to like, share, and subscribe to our show, both on Facebook. Obviously, I know you guys already are, but on our YouTube channel as well.
Please.
And for the reason why I'm bringing that up is with the people that are viewing this on YouTube right now are not able to see the comments that are coming in on our Facebook feed. So I'm just going to read real quick what Josh Hill has said here in regards to Coach O, Ed Ogeron, head coach of the LSU Tigers. He's interviewed him twice, since he works for the news and everything. And both times he was, quote, nice, smiling, and sounded like a Cajun drunk uncle.
That's the perfect description.
Yeah. So I had to read that out for you guys because, I mean, that's just, to me, that's comical. It's funny because it's true.
Well, Josh, shame on you for not giving that man a bottle of whiskey while you were doing the interview.
Who's to say he didn't?
I know you, Josh. You probably did,
Anywho.
And they had the best name, the Cajuns versus the Convicts. That was pretty cool.
Oh, gosh.
Cajuns versus the Convicts was pretty cool.
Yeah. I like that. Okay.
Roll with it, baby. I like that.
Let's go ahead and roll on to week one, most intriguing matchups.
Oh,
and
man.
Lord knows that there's quite a few of them for opening weekend here. I mean, 4 or 5 that you could really sit there and talk a good while about. Mm-hmm. So just for the sake of argument, Jevon, I'm going to kick it over to you first.
Right.
Which matchup for week one is do you really, really have your eyes on right now?
I've been battling with this, man, because it's been 2 that's just been really getting me.
Okay.
One of them, obvious. Other one will shock you. The first one, the obvious choice, is my Broncos against the Seattle Seahawks.
Certainly.
I think that is a very good test for us. A very good test because regardless of how watered down you may think the Seahawks are, they're still a defensive team. And they will give our offense what they need so I can see what we have. So I can see, can Case Keenum go out there and put up those numbers against a nice defense.
So you feel like this is the barometer game for your offense?
Yeah. Because nobody. I mean, the criticism is on our defense. Everybody know our defense is on point. Everybody want to see what can our offense do. Can they put touchdowns on the board? This is a good test for them. And I want to see, can Case use our rookies properly? Is Emmanuel Sanders still as damn excellent as he showed in the preseason? I mean, Emmanuel was
Sure hope so. I drafted him in a couple of leagues.
Oh man, he was fantastic in the preseason, man.
Absolutely.
Demarius Thomas. I mean, come on, man. I'm becoming a little tired of DT, man. He's not fighting for balls anymore. He constantly drops the ball all the time. I'm a little tired of him. And
Louisiana Tech alum Carlos Henderson, superstar in the making.
Yes, indeed. So that's one. Just get those out the way. I want to see what
to kind of just go off of that game a little bit here. I'm really excited to see what 2 of those rookies are going to do for you guys: Cortland Sutton, and also Royce Freeman.
Oh, Freeman! I'm excited about that.
So I just want to throw that out there real quick. Those are 2 of the big names. I mean, obviously a lot of attention is going to be going toward Case Keenum, but for me, I'm really curious to see what those 2 rookies are going to do.
Well, poor
in
Case,
their first game against the Seahawks.
It's unfair for poor Case, man. Case we're trying to find who's gonna give us the wins that Peyton Manning gave us.
Yeah.
And that's unfair to Case. But hey, man, I think he is ready to rise to the occasion, man. And he's not gonna be just this stellar quarterback, but he's gonna be steady.
No, but you're building a case for him.
Yeah. I love me some Case Keenum, man.
Yeah.
And now the second one that's just getting me, just gonna shock everybody, but it's Patriots against the Texans.
That's a fine pick, and Derek Forney agrees with you on that one as well. Houston and the Patriots. That's, I mean, you're looking at Tom Brady versus Deshaun Watson, and I know that's exactly where you're going with this.
That's why that's intriguing me. I know the Patriots are going to win this game. I just want to see what Deshaun got. I want to see, will he, as a young rookie, shake back? A guy who was MVP, was close to becoming MVP his first year in the league. was ready to get Rookie of the Year if he wouldn't have hurt himself.
He absolutely would have gotten Rookie of the Year.
I want to see what this kid got in the tank, man. I want to see is his heart there because I think it is. And I'm really excited about that. Like I said, I'm not expecting the Texans to win this game. I just want to see can the kid shake back and show us what he showed us last year.
Cool.
And that's
cool
pretty
deal.
that's pretty much it.
All right. Cool. Will, how about you, man?
I agree. The Patriots-Texans is going to be a good game. I'm ready to see, as far as your Denver Broncos, I'm ready to see if the tight end Jake Butt is going to be the number 2 option.
Okay.
Is he the butt of all the jokes for you now?
He's just playing from behind. You know,
we're trying to find us a good tight end. We need one.
And Jake Butt was awesome in Michigan.
That's a tight end. I mean,
we.
Yeah.
Dude, you got that one.
Oh, I'm the butt of that joke for sure.
For sure.
But, I mean, we definitely need a good tight end, bro.
We're grown children here, folks. Grown children.
Oh, man, that's all who watching our show. Wait, I think. Sorry, we did put a disclaimer out there. So
Just to protect our asses.
Yeah, so if you are letting your kid watch this,
Yeah.
if you're letting your kid watch this right now, which probably my son could be possibly watching this, Daddy, sorry.
Hey, it's there's still some worse things on TV than us.
Oh, yeah.
Clearly.
On the
Teen
internet.
Titans.
But this
Keeping
is
up with the
gonna-
Kardashians.
This is going to come as a huge shock to you guys, but I'm pretty interested to see the Giants-Jaguars game, only for the fact of the Jaguars' defense is
tough.
that they've been getting all the claim as top 5 defense, maybe the best defense in the league.
Yes.
Odell Beckham's coming off an injury. He's
Yeah.
going to match up with Jalen Ramsey, who's been talking crap about literally everybody in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And Odell Beckham, he just seems different to me.
He does.
He just seems like the light switch clicked on, and he realized, hey, I cannot keep being a jackass and still make it in this league. Talent will only take you so far. And there is no teammate of his that's going to say anything bad about him, which I think says something. I think the Odell Beckham monster was created by the media and a terrible head coach as far as Ben McAdoo. And I think now he's got a no-nonsense guy in Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur is the most professional coach the Giants have had since Coughlin walked out that door. And I'm talking coach as far as all coordinators, all assistant coaches. He's a consummate professional. The guy's awesome.
I got a quick question for you, Trahan.
What's that?
You don't think that big contract got a little something to do with that maturity?
Maybe so. But, I mean, look at it this way. Look at what Le'Veon Bell's doing for his contract. He's putting out raps. He's dissing the Steelers. What did Odell Beckham do? He showed up.
That's all he did. Yeah,
He didn't hold out one single day. He
man.
participated in every single drill.
I completely
he
agree.
asked to play in the preseason.
I agree.
He went up. I follow. Obviously, I'm a huge Giants.
That's
Different
maturity
approach.
there, man.
And
Give
so
love where that is.
there are a couple of podcasts that these guys actually go and ask questions to Pat Shurmur, and they're in the Giants facility. Odell Beckham comes up and asks one of them. I believe it was Pat Trahan, Pat Trahan. Why won't Coach let me play? And everybody, all the people standing around, are you joking? Why do you think you might get injured? He's like, you can get injured walking down the stairs.
That's real talk.
You can get injured doing anything.
Walking outside, slipping on the
you can
pavement.
get injured doing anything.
Yeah.
So I think Odell Beckham, watching him this year, I think he's got a new focus. I mean, he's solid in his contract, and I think after signing that big deal and going through what he went through, I think he kind of saw that he was human last year and he wasn't just untouchable after he broke his ankle. That maybe that broken ankle was the best thing that happened to him.
God has
blessing
ways
in
of
disguise kind of thing.
Maybe it put him in check and made him grow up, which I hope so, because the guy's now going to be the face of the New York Giants, whether I like it or not. Him and Saquon Barkley are there for the next 4 years at least.
No, I will not agree with that. Eli is the face of the Giants.
I think Eli's going to retire soon. I really do. The guy's 39 years old. He's got nothing left to prove.
That's the last man I got left, man. Come on, dude. Don't take that from me,
You're talking
man.
to the biggest Eli defender on earth.
After him, man, I got to wait till them big head kids grow up, man. Good grief.
Eli's way over the hill, but, I still love him. We're still rolling with him at quarterback.
I love him, bro.
But that's not the only game I'm excited about. And I'll tell you what. The Patriots and Texans are going to get a lot of publicity. But the 49ers and Vikings.
Oh yeah,
That's gonna be
Yeah.
an incredible.
Yeah.
That's a
matchup.
shindig.
Because
definitely.
that's Mike Zimmer, who's a defensive genius,
Yeah.
versus Kyle Shanahan, an
Offensive
offensive
genius.
genius.
Yeah.
You got Jimmy GQ
G
versus the number one defense from last year.
Yeah.
You
the,
got
the currently
Jesus.
undefeated Jimmy GQ.
Jimmy GQ. Yeah.
Call him what you call. Call him what Josh call him. Jimmy G.
The only thing more impressive than his record is who he's going on dates with.
Hey, are they hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey.
Pretty
Yeah.
good looking. Pretty
Hey,
good looking.
come on, Jimmy, man, throw me something.
But I'm also intrigued
You
to
a
see.
bone?
I'm also intrigued to see what the Vikings' offense is going to look like with Kirk Cousins taking over. You know, and John D.
More
Filippo.
explosive.
John D. Filippo is who I wanted the offense because he was the quarterbacks coach for Philly last year. They credit him for developing quarterbacks with second to none. This guy's a fast riser among assistant coaches' names. Now he's the OC. And I really think that, Pat Shurmur's a good offensive coordinator. Losing Pat Shurmur was no small thing for the Vikings, but I think the guy they replaced him with, I think can coach Kirk Cousins past that hump that Jay Gruden couldn't get him past. Because when Sean McVay was the offensive coordinator in Washington, that was
Right.
Kirk Cousins' best year. And I think if you put who's the best offensive play caller in the NFL, it's Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan and everybody else. Maybe Josh McDaniels. I'll say Josh McDaniels deserves to be in that conversation too.
Yeah.
But Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan, those guys their offensive prowess is second to none. And Shanahan just lost McKinnon, so I'm going to be interested to see how they bounce back with that. I think more of the onus is going to be put on Jimmy Garoppolo, and I want to see if he can stand up to one of the toughest defenses and pass rushes in the NFL. Because the Vikings got Sheldon Richardson. The Vikings also had Linval Joseph, Everson Griffin, all these pass rushers that are incredible. They got better. It's an arms race on defense. They got all these corners. They got Anthony Barr. They got all these players on defense that are incredible, and after Jerick McKinnon gets hurt, they don't really have that work. They had Alfred Morris, who's been good in a couple of places, but I'm interested to see this matchup, and I think this could be
I don't even think
this could be a playoff matchup. I'm not going to say NFC Championship, but I do believe this could be because the Seahawks are down. No offense to your Broncos.
I know they are. That's why I was saying they're not the defense that they once were, but it's still going to be a nice test for our
the 49ers
offense.
at best are going to be number 2 in that division. I think the LA Rams are going to run away with
Oh
it.
yeah, definitely. Without
And the Vikings are going to have the Bears with a new Khalil Mack and Aaron Rodgers as Packers. So I think this will be interesting. This is going to be interesting, and it's interesting to see that a game in Week 1 may have ramifications all the way in the playoffs.
I think it's going to be an offensive game.
You think so?
I think so. I think with Kirk Cousins, they're going to open up that playbook, man. They're going to the air. Kurt is a quarterback you go to the air with, man. Because I seen this dude go to the air with nothing over there in Washington, man.
That's true, but now he has
Yeah.
Dalvin Cook back, and Latavius Murray is his backup. That's 2 good running backs. That's 2 good running
Yeah.
backs.
Yeah, that's true.
And
but
Cousins really hasn't had the benefit of a real running game.
Since
that is-
Alfred Morris.
that is
Yeah.
so
Since
true.
Alfred Morris left,
That
there
is
has
so true.
been nobody, with the exception of Chris Thompson, who's a pass catcher.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they haven't had that true workhorse yet, and hopefully Dalvin Cook comes back to light the league on fire like he was before he was injured last year. We'll
Yeah.
see. I think that's gonna be one of the games that I definitely tune into. Besides the Giants game, obviously.
Obviously. Yeah.
Come on.
Come on, go ahead.
I've been waiting to see what
Go
the
ahead and
man's
talk
finna
about
go
the
with.
Cowboys.
I want to see
Let's
what the
go ahead
man
and talk
finna
about
go
the
with.
Cowboys.
I'm waiting for this.
You know what? Y'all should really get paid to be psychics. I mean, like seriously, quit your jobs, just become psychics, and just call it a day.
I tried, man, but that turban just didn't work for me, baby. I just
I've already quit a
Maybe
job
like
in
the
the
one
past
with
couple.
Superman colors.
Yeah.
That might work for
Yeah,
The
I've
people
already
didn't
I've already
believe it.
quit one job in the past couple of months. That's enough for me.
Didn't see
just
that
hit
one
the
coming,
chow
did you?
line, man.
Maybe that's why you're not a psychic yet.
Yeah, we'll see. I'll keep working on it, but I think calling that you're going to talk about the Cowboys is about as easy as Tom Brady's going to the Hall of Fame.
I think he got 2 games just like us too, though.
You know,
I really do.
and I do, partly because of the fact that Carolina and Dallas. That is an interesting matchup. I'm not going to say it's like game of the week kind of thing,
but it's an
interesting matchup
though. It really is.
2
question mark teams.
Like it or not,
sure.
the Cowboys always draw eyes. Even if their team's bad, they're still going to.
They're still going to draw eyes. That's just one of those teams.
And so will Cam Newton.
And what I'm looking at here, where my team is concerned, is the defense is vastly improved. This may actually be a year.
On paper,
this may actually be the first time in a long time where the defense could potentially be better than the offense.
That's very true.
Oh, that's very true.
That
is extremely true.
That's really saying a lot in my opinion, because this defense has not had any sort of pass rush or anything. I think that's a different story now.
Yes, indeed.
Secondary looks a lot better. I love what they have at linebacker.
Their linebacking crew's looking like a real powerhouse.
Yeah,
real. Sean Lee can
the
stay
real
healthy,
deal.
Yeah,
that's going to be a powerhouse.
Yeah, I love their linebacking core. Just like what we had talked about whenever we were breaking down Dallas a few weeks ago, it's all going to come down to their receivers being able to beat one-on-one coverage, and now the health of Travis Frederick calls everything very much into question right now.
Not only him, Zach Martin too.
Yeah,
I mean, it seems like they got that double whammy. Within like days of each other.
2 all pros.
All pros, yeah.
I mean, arguably 2 of the very best at their positions.
2/3 of the reason the Dallas Cowboys line
is what it is.
Feared.
Correct. So that is a huge question mark right there
line.
for me.
I mean, in your offense, in your O-line, y'all did so much building that offense, and now it seemed like y'all are more defensive.
Was it like 3 or 4? No, it was 3 years where it was the first round pick was an offensive line.
Correct. In 11 with Tyron Smith, then in 13 with Travis Frederick, and then in 14 with Zach Martin.
And then you took Elliott, so the run game was.
Yeah. So that was going to be our bread and butter.
Yep. They were looking past.
So you are psychic.
Yeah.
Now he just studies.
That's very true. I do study way more than a normal person should.
He's like the Peyton Manning of podcasts.
I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not Peyton Manning. You can call me Eli Manning right now. We'll see.
All right.
At least I'm not the Blake Bortles of podcasts.
I'm going to throw a real curveball at you here, guys, and I'm looking total upset alert. Cleveland Browns and Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think
hey, man, that's
I'm
a
on
good
board
win.
with you. I'm picking the Browns to win.
Hey, Cleveland gonna beat
Cleveland
them boys,
right now.
Cleveland gonna beat them boys,
to
man.
upset the Pittsburgh Steelers on opening day.
I hate to say that, but they gonna beat them boys, man.
Because I think this is a new era for Cleveland. There's a lot of excitement generated right now that has not been there in several years. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, this is a game that they should win but won't win. Why? Mike Tomlin has a history of blowing games that they should win.
Especially against the Browns.
This is a game that they should. Cleveland has lost 6 straight against Pittsburgh. This is a different Cleveland team, though.
Oh, hell yeah.
Josh Hill, I just want to let you know
Hey,
that comment made me stop the newscast to tell you how funny it was.
Hey, man.
For those of you who can't see, he said Josh Hill is the Blake Bortles of newscasts.
Hey, I'm going to tell y'all how much this hurts for me to say this. Man, well over half of my father's family are Pittsburgh Steelers fans. So this hurts for me to say this kind of stuff, man, because I actually like the Steelers, man. They're going to lose, bro.
I respect the Steelers, too. I mean, they are the only team in the world that has 6 Super Bowl titles.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Still.
Yes, indeed.
But
Till the end of the year when the Patriots win it again.
oh, good God.
It's going to be Patriots
This
Giants.
show is going
round 3.
so well up until that moment. Why'd you have to go and blow it all to hell?
Look, guys, I feel like I've gone 50 minutes without talking about Tom Brady too much. I mean,
Hey, man, I see you've been working on
I'm
your
only
comedy.
human. I'm only human.
You've been working on your comedy a lot lately, man. Because I'm going to tell you right now, man, when the Patriots go up against Jacksonville again, they will not let the Patriots beat them next time.
Yep.
Will not.
history will not repeat
It
itself.
will not. Jacksonville, there's no way they're going to let the Patriots.
But
Yeah.
but yeah,
You must be
I'm
predicting that
sticking.
Blake Bortles won't be their quarterback by then.
I'm still sticking. I'm still sticking with what I'm saying here. Cleveland is going to upset the Pittsburgh Steelers on opening weekend.
Absolutely.
No, reason why I am saying that is because of the Le'Veon Bell distraction. That's
That's a big one.
the line is not going to have its head in the game the way that it should. I don't in Pittsburgh. I don't think they're going to be able to stop the run either. I don't feel comfortable with. I mean, Cleveland ought to be able to say, you know what? Let's just pound this ball up the middle here, and Tyrod Taylor is good enough to not make mistakes.
Absolutely.
And he's the kind of fleet-footed quarterback that can give Pittsburgh a lot of problems coming out of the pocket.
Man. Tyrod's
So
good, man.
there's
If you've
that.
been watching
Nick
Hard
Chubb,
Knocks.
I love him running up the gut. I know he's on some fantasy teams. Derek Forney, I'm talking to you on that one. I like Duke Johnson coming out of the backfield, and they picked up from the 49ers in free agency Carlos Hyde. So they have a good trio, a three-headed monster at running back. They got Jarvis Landry in free agency. They have Josh Gordon coming back from his suspension.
David Njoku.
David Njoku, I mean, I don't know if he's going to be much of a Joku in his second year. I mean, he showed some flashes last year as a rookie. I think he comes on and does some promising things this year in his second season.
You think so?
I do.
I think I agree with you, man. If you've been watching Hard Knocks, there's a lot of excitement around Cleveland. I mean, despite their awful motto, which is "Welcome to the Hard Land," which was I don't know who thought that was a good idea to put that on
The hard
Knocks.
land on Hard Knocks. Yeah, exactly.
Hey,
Yeah.
what club does this guy go to?
Hard Rock Cafe.
Nah.
I'm gonna leave that.
That's the only thing I could think
I'm gonna
of.
leave that up to you, sir.
I think he goes to some club that probably play a little mixture of some fruity music.
Or Hard Rock.
Cause it's hard. Hey, look, check this out. Check this out, man.
Just real quick, because we're about to wrap
Hey,
up.
look, let's go back. If you can go back to some of our old podcasts, I talked so much crap about the Browns, man. And they were speaking of butt. They were the butt of my jokes. And but I was also sad for them too. So I'm not sad anymore. As a matter of fact, this is the Cleveland Brown team I was waiting on right here. This is the one that I was talking about last year that I thought I wanted to see. Oh yeah, they're ready.
Yeah.
They ready to. I don't know if they're ready to make a playoff run, but they are ready to make some teams' lives miserable.
I do agree with that. They're not a playoff team at the moment, but they are a team that is at least headed in the right direction.
Oh
anyway.
yeah, some
For the
people
first
ain't gonna
time
want to see them.
in years now.
Guys, I'm gonna throw a situation out.
Okay, hit me up real quick, brother.
So, what if James, or is it John or James Conner?
James Conner.
James Conner comes out, runs for 200 yards, looks amazing. The Steelers rescind the franchise tag. Le'Veon Bell becomes a free agent. No teams have the cap space to give him what he wants. He signs a 1-year deal worth $4 to $5 to $10 million, maybe. Then he tears his ACL. No more Le'Veon Bell. Bold prediction. Put it on the board.
Wow. You know, if that happens, people will just say, he did it against Cleveland.
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Cleveland's run defense, though, man, they looked stout in the preseason.
I get what you're saying, but I mean, still, I mean,
that was a bold
if anything happens right there, that is exactly what people will say. It's Cleveland.
I don't know, man.
But-
this ain't your grandpa's Cleveland Browns. I mean,
No, it definitely
these
not your
guys
grandpa,
look like, and that's the magic of Hard Knocks, though. They get you pumped up about whatever team's on there. I thought the Buccaneers were going to be a lot better than they were last year. I watch Hard Knocks. I'm like, man, this Buccaneers are going to turn a page, and they suck.
Not with that retarded quarterback of theirs, bro. No way.
Yeah, that guy's
That dude,
not
that dude
very
is
smart. Not
that
very
dude's
smart
a jerk. Douche.
So
You touch I bet I have a cousin driving an Uber car. Touch it if you want to. I will go whoop your ass, Jameson.
He's,
Hey,
he's a
Winston.
pretty big dude. You might not get
I don't get. Well, we gonna have
it'll be
a
his match.
we gonna have a good old shindig then. man.
Indeed, yo.
You know, don't you touch, man. You keep your hands off them women, dude. You are a douchebag,
Yeah.
man.
Be a real man.
Yeah, be a real man.
Be a real man, dude. But yeah, on that interesting turn of
Of bashing Jameis Winston.
We couldn't get through the show without doing it. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I can't stand it. Dude.
That's the only way we're going to talk about him because he sucks everywhere else.
Anywho, so yeah, with all that being said, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your busy schedules. This is Sports at Night, real fans, real talk. As always, I'm your host, Todd Knight, and on behalf of all of us here at the Sports at Night crew, Will Michael Trahan, and Jevon Superman Miller, we'll see y'all on the other side, baby.
Go Braves!
Hey, I love you, Trahan, man. Thanks for coming back.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
That was awesome, dude.
But really, go Braves. Okay.
Here.
Yep. And we will talk about that some. Baby Braves.
I got Winston's home address, guys. Take him to visit.
Really now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just wear your mask, man. It's a felony.
Well, that's good to know.
So, yeah, guys, I quit KTBS.
What?
Yep, fuck those people.